Fatally.
I am so frightened of society that I will not conform to its wishes occasionally. Tewkesbury needs to be married. So I will. I must
Do
marry.
as you were told? Oh, yes.
Enola Holmes 3 just quietly slipped clues past almost every single viewer. And one of them changes who you actually think the villain is. This movie was filmed for real inside a 17th century fortress that already died on screen once before, in a completely different mega-franchise. Director Philip Barantini opened this film with a scene that, according to him, wasn't even supposed to exist in the first draft. And by the time the credits roll, you'll realize the woman Enola chased across an entire island never actually existed. Enola Holmes 3 dropped on Netflix on July 1st, 2026. With Millie Bobby Brown back as the detective, Henry Cavill returning as Sherlock Holmes, Louis Partridge as Tewkesbury, Helena Bonham Carter as Eudora Holmes, and Himesh Patel as Dr. Watson. This time, Philip Barantini, the Emmy-winning director behind Adolescence, took over the chair from Harry Bradbeer. With Jack Thorne returning to write the screenplay, the story leaves foggy London behind and sends Enola to Malta for her own wedding, right before her brother gets kidnapped. These are 11 hidden details you completely missed in Enola Holmes 3, 2026. Number 11. The opening scene wasn't even in the original script. Film opens with a mysterious chained figure being dragged past jail cells to a mustachioed sergeant, a scene that, according to director Philip Barantini, was never part of writer Jack Thorne's original draft. Barantini pushed to add a cold opening, the kind you'd see at the start of a Jurassic Park movie, where something happens early and you don't understand its full meaning until the story catches up to it. That chained prisoner turns out to be Moriarty, played by Sharon Duncan-Brewster, and the scene quietly plants the entire mystery a full year before the wedding even begins. So next time you rewatch the first 2 minutes, would you have caught who was really behind those chains without Barantini's addition? Number 10. Malta's Silent City has already starred in another epic saga. Huge chunk of Enola Holmes 3 was filmed in Mdina, a hilltop walled town in Malta nicknamed the Silent City because cars aren't allowed inside it. In the film, Enola spots a suspicious soldier and chases him through Mdina's narrow stone alleys and palazzos. What most viewers don't clock is that these exact alleys already played King's Landing in the very first season of Game of Thrones. Location manager Tom Howard chose Malta specifically because its architecture could convincingly pass for a world roughly 120 years in the past. Did you recognize Mdina's stone alleys from somewhere else the very first time Enola started running through them? Number 9. The hotel Enola stays in is a real 300-year-old villa in the movie. Enola stays at the fictional Hotel Cornelius right up until disaster strikes. In reality, that hotel is Villa Bologna, an 18th-century country house in a tarred Malta, famous for its recently restored Baroque Maltese gardens and citrus orchards. The production used the villa's real gardens as a filming backdrop, and the owners actually opened the estate to visitors for tours. Would you book a stay at the real Villa Bologna, knowing it once played Enola's fictional home away from home? Number 8. The villain's name was hiding in plain sight. Sharon Duncan-Brewster plays a character called Mira Troy across the trilogy, a name that scrambles into Moriarty, the legendary Holmes villain, right in front of everyone. In Enola Holmes 3, she adds a second disguise on top of that first one, operating in Malta under the alias Professor Adeline Rath, to stay hidden as a fugitive while she hunts for hidden treasure. How many times did you hear the name Mira Troy before you connected the dots to Moriarty? Number 7. The fortress behind the big explosion has a bloody Hollywood past. The film's explosive confrontation with Moriarty was shot inside Fort Ricasoli, a 17th-century fortress on Malta's southern coast. This same fortress previously played the Great Sept of Baelor in Game of Thrones, the location of one of that show's most infamous mass casualty explosions, and it's also appeared in Troy and Napoleon. Enola Holmes 3 is far from the first production to blow things up on these walls. Considering what happened at the Great Sept of Baelor on Game of Thrones, do you think it was pure coincidence that Fort Ricasoli got caught in the crossfire again? Number 6. A groom erases his own name on screen after learning the truth about his late father's crimes during the British occupation. Tewkesbury, played by Louis Partridge, makes a quiet but massive decision. He renounces his aristocratic title and his seat in the House of Lords, giving up the name Lord Tewkesbury entirely to live under his birth name, Ernest Tebety Gore. Enola herself decides to keep her own name, Holmes, rather than take his. If love meant giving up your entire inherited identity, would you have made the same choice Tewkesbury did? Number 5. The woman Enola chased the entire movie never existed for most of the runtime. Enola believes she's tracking down a real person named Professor Adeline Rath. The film's final image, the wreckage of a sunken ship, reveals that Adeline Rath was never a person at all. It was a coded pointer, planted to eventually lead Enola straight to a shipwreck hiding a fortune in stolen gold. Did you spot that Adeline Rath might be a code word before that final shipwreck image gave it away? Number 4. One man connects the first scene to the last, the key ID. Chained prisoner in the opening scene is led past a mustachioed sergeant, later identified as Sergeant Nicholas Smith, who frees Moriarty in exchange for her help finding hidden riches. That same sergeant resurfaces deep into Enola's investigation, hands her the word wrath with his dying breath, and turns out to be the man who originally documented the entire military cover-up at the center of the case. Now that you know Sergeant Smith links the opening scene to the ending, are you going to rewatch the film just to trace his path? Number 3. The gold wasn't stolen by strangers. It was stolen by family, the treasure. Everyone is chasing traces back to the Battle of Khost during the Anglo-Afghan War, when British soldiers stole gold from an Afghan shrine on government orders and secretly shipped it to Malta. The twist: it was Tewkesbury's own late father, Peter, who ran that operation and later sank the ship carrying the gold rather than let the crime come to light, letting Maltese soldiers take the blame. Brigadier Sampson, played by Jason Watkins, is the one who finally admits the truth. Would you have guessed that Tewkesbury's own father was the real thief behind treasure his son grew up believing was honorably earned? Number 2. Every Enola Holmes film hides the same address. Even with the story jumping to Malta, the franchise keeps one quiet constant. Queen Anne's Gate in London has doubled as the exterior of Baker Street across all 3 films, while the interiors of 221B were rebuilt on sound stages at Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England. The same practice used since the very first movie. It's the one piece of geography this trilogy has never actually changed. Have you ever paused on the Baker Street exterior shot and realized it's the exact same London street from movie 1? Number 1. The wedding you see twice isn't a mistake. Enola Holmes 3 opens with a wedding and closes with one too, and that's by design. The first, a lavish aristocratic ceremony at St. Paul's Metropolitan Cathedral in Medina, collapses the moment Sherlock goes missing. The second is smaller, held on a cliffside, arriving only after Tewkesbury has renounced his title and Enola has decided to keep her own name. Same couple, same island, 2 completely different meanings. Now that you've seen both weddings side by side, which one do you think truly represents who Enola Holmes became? From director Philip Barantini's last-minute cold open to an entire alias built around a shipwreck, Enola Holmes 3 turned out to be one of the most detail-packed mysteries Netflix has released this year. And somewhere between Fort Ricasoli's Game of Thrones history and Tewkesbury's family secret, this franchise just proved it still has plenty of cases left to solve. If we missed one of your favorite hidden details, drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and if this video helped you see Enola Holmes 3 in a completely new light, hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden detail breakdowns, and I'll catch you in the next one.